Israel is a place where the daily pressures, they force on us a certain pace that might reduce us to what I will call maintenance mode. We are in a maintenance crisis mode for many years. This could be a very dangerous thing for a society. Seeing Mandel from the inside, I have immense appreciation of people who say what we want to create is enclaves of space that will allow some type of freedom for big ideas and big initiatives to emerge that will not be buried or flattened by the huge, powerful momentum of maintenance. My first actually interaction or engagement with Mandel was a result of conversations I used to have with Seymour Fox, who was interested in talking to me about issues of Israeli society, people whom I know, etc. Then he asked me to join the advisory academic committee of the Mandel Institute, and I used to be a member of that advisory. And actually I began to know the Mandel endeavor from this angle. I was very impressed. We were, Izzy Scheffler and others, talking about larger issues, examining how do we do the work right, providing ideas. I knew Mort from being a very visible member in the Jewish world, and always knew that there is something special about what he does, which is that his efforts are oriented towards education, and that I always felt that by that he actually has emphasized what needs to be emphasized and what's most crucial for this country and this society, which is education, Jewish education, other things. The capacity of Israel existentially to survive depends on the level and quality of education it provides to its citizens and members. It's also the only way in which the radical plurality of this country can be held together without use of force and coercion through a genuine conversation. That will be dependent upon the level and quality of the curriculum and the educational institutions of this country. We want to deal with education not only as spectators but as players. I teach at Mandel usually two or three classes. One is a class on political theory. We do the great texts and the great issues of political theory. And my aim in this course is to provide the fellows the capacity for them to inform a vision of what is it that they want this society to look like in its most basic fundamental questions of its identity, of its political structure. I also teach a course on the different ideals of what is a human being. What's the conception of character? I think that's very important for education at all. You ask yourself, what sort of a human being you want to emerge out of your institution, class, other things. And here, this is also informed by Jewish thought, because Jewish thought has put a lot of effort in trying to portray an ideal type, like the scholar, like the saint, like the tzaddik, like, we have different ideal types. So it's a class on ideal type. By picking this subject, I wanted to have the fellows an opportunity to think through, while engaging with great texts that thought about that, great thinkers from the West and from Jewish tradition, that were engaged with these issues, so they can form a certain view for themselves as educational leaders about those concerns. The fellows here are a microcosmos of Israeli society, and I think one of the important aspects of the growth of the people will bring here is that it's in some ways the first opportunity they will have in their life to form close dialogue and human relationship on an ongoing basis with people who are completely different from their world. And it teaches them two things. First of all, it teaches them what is Israel, where are they operating. Not in an abstract way, right? But they hear the voices in front of them. And second, while articulating their vision, they understand they have to take into account the complexity of the society. And I think this is a very unique space. I think in many ways it's the only space that such a thing happens in this society. I can have in my class at the Hebrew University sometimes a variety of students from different areas of life. But the classroom doesn't allow for genuine, real engagement. Because this is a group that is going together for 2 years, the group at Mandel, the fellows, and they come to know one another, they come to understand the pains and the hopes of one another. And this is I think it's crucial for their growth, as people who will take responsible roles and leading roles in Israeli society, to have that experience that we are providing for them. When they will have to articulate their vision as future leaders or people who will have responsible roles in this society, they will have to already take into account that complexity that they encountered while being here. You would not have a leadership, a serious leadership that makes a difference, without a vision. And a vision has to be informed and worked through and well argued. There is a difference between a technocrat and a leader. A technocrat is someone when you tell him, we have to achieve that. He will know the ways, or he or she will know the ways how to achieve that, because he knows the political structures and the administrative and the bureaucratic maze, and he knows how to operate in it, etc. He's effective. But we want to create a leadership that will say, where is it that we have to go? That will be capable of analyzing the social structure and say, here's a problem that we have to address. And that we will be capable as well to be a listener to the voices of the varieties of communities that they have to address. I think at the core, you might say the core vision is that that on the one hand practitioners ought to engage with theory in a serious way, because practice without theory is narrow, and in many ways it's self-defeating. It has its own inertia with actually leading nowhere. So you need the theory. On the other hand, a serious theory, when it deals with the social sciences or with philosophy, has to be deeply connected to practice. Because if it's not connected to practice, it's detached and meaningless. So I think What's interesting for me as a philosopher who has interest in ethics and political theory and other aspects of philosophy, is to be forced, in a good way, to engage that proper calibrated meeting of theory and practice in this environment. And for me, as a philosopher, that's a rare opportunity to, to say, well, there is a way in which I can contribute directly to my country. That's what draws me to Mandel. It's exactly that point where theory and practice meet. And Mandel has allowed me to have a channel, a great channel for my commitment for contribution and impact in this society.